Swadika, welcome to Voice of the Nations Roundtable. You are with me, Nina Nirasha Malisaklumia. So today we are going to discuss about the hot issue related to the Russia and Ukraine war, but it's about the situation in Thailand. As the Russia and Ukraine war continues, Western countries have slapped severe sanctions on Russia, affecting businesses and economy, flights, and even money transfers. The fallout of this is already being experienced in Thailand, with more than 7,000 Russians and Ukrainians affected by these radical developments. Some Russian tourists cannot go home as their flights have been cancelled, and some hotels in Thailand do not accept the credit cards provided by Russian tourists. Similarly to some Ukrainian tourists cannot go home due to the war in their country, leaving them stranded in Thailand. Therefore, today we will discuss this unusual situation and see how Thailand is providing assistance to these tourists. So first of all, please welcome Kun Chattan Kunchon, Na Ayutthaya Tourism Authority of Thailand, Deputy Governor for International Marketing, Europe, Africa, Middle East, and Americas. And also, please welcome Kun Phumkit Raktengam, President of the Phuket Tourist Association. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ Thank you for joining our Voice of the Nations program. And I think that you are quite busy recently, right?
The Vice Governor got much busier than me.
Yeah, is working full speed. Sorry, Kun Phumkit, please come.
No, I just want to say the Vice Governor is much busier than me, basically. So the busiest person is the Vice Governor.
Okay, so since today we're going to talk about these situations, I would like to ask Kun Chattan about how would you describe the situation of the stranded tourists right now in Thailand?
Right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kunina. With the situation, ever since there have been further developments in the current conflict, there are now effects being felt here for the Thai tourism industry, especially with regards to, as you say, Russian and Ukrainian tourists being unable to go home. Okay, for different reasons. All right. The first thing we had to do in cooperation with the private sector of the Thai tourism industry is that we have to find out how many of these tourists are left in Thailand, how many want to go home, how many have expressed an interest in wanting to go home. Okay, so we have had several meetings with the tourism industry and our own offices in the main tourist destinations of Phuket, Koh Samui, Krabi, Pattaya, and Bangkok. Okay, just to find out how many of the Russian and Ukrainian tourists are still here in the country. So what we have found out is that with regards to Phuket, I'm sure Kun Phumkit can expand, but with regards to Phuket, okay, the number of Russian and Ukrainian tourists combined still on the island amounts to about not more than 1,400 people. Okay, 1,400 people. Now, for all the other destinations, numbers are still being compiled. There will be a certain number on Koh Samui, okay, not so many in Krabi and Phang Nga, okay. Again, not so many in Pattaya and Bangkok, okay. A certain number, Nina, will be expats, okay. These are people who are Russian and Ukrainians that have businesses, have families here, okay. So we don't count them as tourists, okay. But overall, the big picture is that we consider that there are no more than 3,000, okay, Russian and Ukrainian tourists in the country at this time.
For now?
For now, yeah.
Okay. What about the situation in Phuket, Kun Phumkit?
Right, as the Deputy Governor mentions, Of course, there is the stranded Russians want to go back home because the flights not available at all.
Mhm.
Aeroflot and Siberian Airlines has been ceasing operations, especially Aeroflot, since the 8th of March. So we compiling the numbers, and again, the numbers could be a little bit different from what we heard from the news because we want to only specific to the tourists.
Yeah.
And in Russia, staying in Thailand can be residents, can be expats, can be tourists. So we want to jump in and help tourists. And I think the numbers that we have now, more or less, the same numbers as the deputy governor just mentioned to you guys. But again, we really need to compiling and confirming from the hotels together with the consular office. But
Mhm.
we expect the number of tourists currently that need some assistance would somehow less than 2,000 tourists. Again, tourists only. We have to extract the number from the expat. Sometimes when we go asking the number from immigrations, you're gonna have a big numbers because there is the expats and renew of the visa in terms of COVID, which is compiling numbers could be high as 6,000 Russians, but for tourists only, again, it's confirming less than 2,000. Yeah.
Okay. What about if the situations continue and they can't stay? I mean, they have a limitations of staying due to their visa. If the situation continue, are there any assistance or any alternative solution for them in terms of visa or anything? คุณภูมิกิจ
Generally, Russians enter to Thailand. They can stay legally for 30 days. And if you look back to the situations on the conflict developing by the third week of February or the last week of February, especially if you starting count on the flights not availabilities, um, I would say most of the tourists who arrive by the fourth week of February, they can stay for 30 days without worrying the visa. So currently, there's not much problems about the visa because when they arrived last week, they still be able to stay and continue stay until the 30th day until the visa expires. And if the visa expires, we've been talking to immigration already about extending the visa to them. There is a, a way to go for the visa and not much problem currently. Yeah.
Mhm. And Kunchatan, what kind of solution or assistance is Thailand offering to the affected tourists right now?
Yes, as Kun Poomkit already mentioned, there are mainly two major issues, okay, with the tourists that are here now. Number one is the cancellation of flights, okay, thereby making the journey back at this time to their home countries, whether it's Russia or Ukraine, not possible, okay, especially with the um, situation for Ukraine. There is no the airspace over the country is now closed, of course. Okay, so the solution is that we are, especially our ministries, whether it is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the Ministry of Tourism and Sports. I believe they are in contact with the respective embassies, the Russian embassy in Bangkok and the Ukrainian embassy in Bangkok, just to find out what the plans of the embassies are in facilitating the return of their citizens from Thailand to their home countries. Okay. On Thailand's part, we are ready to provide all the support, assistance, facilitation, whether it's about air travel, whether it's about the immigration process, whatever, as they leave the country. Okay, but first of all, we need to talk to the embassies, as I mentioned. Okay,
Mhm.
that's the air part, right?
Mhm.
The second part would be the financial transactions, which have really impacted on the stay of the tourists here. They especially the Russian tourists, okay,
Yes.
they can no longer use their credit cards. The major credit card brands in Thailand, okay,
Mhm.
so we have to find alternative payment methods to help them, as well as help the Thai tourist businesses involved. Okay, whether they are hotels or other businesses. I'm sure Kun Pum Kit can expand on that in a few minutes. Also, there is the thing about cryptocurrency, which we are looking at as an alternative form of payment. Okay, I'll leave that for now. Thank you.
Yes. Please go ahead, Kun Pumkit. How is the how you managing or helping or giving assistance to these tourists right now in Phuket? And also, as Kun Chatan said, in terms of payment and transactions, how are you dealing with it right now or offering help right now to these stranded tourists?
To us, I think the bottom line is if you look at the tourists, they didn't plan to stay longer than what they expect to stay. So basically, our mission is to find a way that they can go back to the country, to Russia, mainly because again Ukraine could be difficult to fly back. And if you look at the geography in Russia, you can understand that it's very big countries, and we can divide into three parts. The Far East, which is very close by to Korea. The middle part is called Siberia, and the west part, it's where St. Petersburg and Moscow is located. S7, the Siberian Allies, stopped flying, and mainly they're flying from the Siberian and Far East, and there's no way at all right now for passengers or tourists in Russia to fly back to them. While in Moscow, you can have some airlines like Middle East Airlines that you can put them on the plane. They can go back. So our strong and focus right now is try to connect with the consular office and some of the airlines to operate the flight you can call repatriate or humanitarian flight. Let the passengers or tourists who actually want to go back have options to go back. That's the bottom line, especially on the Far East and Siberia, because right now it's almost impossible for them to go back without assistance from Thai and Russian government. However, there were some people who want to stay a bit longer to see the situations if could be developed in which way. They have problem on payment. They have money back in Russia, but because of the banking system, and especially the transferring money system has been cut, or credit card system has been cut.
Yeah.
Namely Visa or MasterCard has been cut from the bank in Russia. Even they have money there, they cannot use credit card here. They cannot even withdrawing the cash from here. So we actually have alternative for them, not providing them. We approach to few governments agency, and we approach to few private companies to provide them the alternative payments.
Okay.
I think we kind of have some sort of solution for them right now, but again, it's still very new, and we try to establish the solid and consistency payment system here for them if they want to stay or a bit longer. However, we still facing some challenges because let's say the Chinese payment system here may not be available right here in Thailand.
Yes.
So if they want to use money, it could be a little bit longer than they have to wait until the system has been established and be consistency. We even propose Bank of Thailand for allowing to use some sort of cryptocurrencies during this crisis. That's our fault. It's not our tourist fault, but because of the universal system has been cut and we don't have ever designed any alternative at all, and that's a problem because we don't know how can we handle this without some sort of emergency channel. So we propose to the Bank of Thailand to consider whether they would allow the Russian tourists to spend by cryptocurrency, which really to us really hopeless now for the answer that we have. So, and again, Bank of Thailand still not providing solid answer for us which way we can go. So it's like we we're running around ourselves a little bit, trying to find
Right.
a solution to the tourists.
Mhm. And
May,
yes,
may I ask about the flights? I forgot one thing, but Kun Pumkit already mentioned just a bit. Okay, there are still indirect flights. Okay, from Russia into Thailand, meaning Russian travelers can still come. Okay, there is no restriction for flights. Okay, what they can do is that they can come via airlines in the Middle East. Okay, uh, of course they have to change planes. Okay, there. Okay, which means that when they want to go back, they can use the same route. Okay, fly using Middle East carriers, change planes somewhere in the Middle East, and then fly back to Russia. Okay. But for Ukraine, as I said, the airspace is closed.
and that's another option. I would like to ask Kun Pumkit back to where we left about the payments. Those are the options that you have given me. But for now, what are the solutions for now? Is it paying by cash or paying by?
Yeah, I actually let me elaborate a bit more on the proposal that we actually proposed to the Bank of Thailand and some government agency. In
Yes.
Russia, they have their own payment system called MIR system, or MIR. Again, MIR system has not been established well in Thailand because normally when you compare to using Visa and MasterCard, MIR system could be very a bit less. So basically, the commercial bank in Thailand may not be interested at the first place. We again encourage the commercial bank to connect with MIR system and trying to get the establishment of the system. Basically, Russian tourists, they have some cash. When they're traveling, they would have some cash with them, either by US or Euro. Again, when they come to Thailand and Phuket, for example, they have some sort of cash, but they don't plan to stay like 30 days. They plan to stay like 10 to 12 days. So the cash still now being used among Russian tourists during the time that they cannot use any kind of system. But again, cash will be gone one day, and then we don't have time right now to just make sure that they have cash ongoing while they stay in Thailand. Answer your question, yes, they're spending cash right now, of
Right now.
course, but cash could be very limited, and
Mm.
and we've been surveying to Russian tourists, the cash they have may no longer available after they stay here for another 3 to 5 days.
Okay.
So during these 3 to 5 days, we need to find a way out for them. Again, they have money, but they don't allow to use the money. That's the problem.
Okay. I've heard that Phuket have the shelters for these stranded tourists as well. Would you like?
No, we don't have the shelter yet. Again, we actually on Sunday we've been having the letters to the members that this is situations, and if you can jump in and help the tourists, especially Russian tourists who may not be able to travel back to the country, and try to give them some sort of take care scenario. So they most of the hotels allow very special rate for them right now to stay on. And again, we compiling the data from hotels and consulates and see how many would like to go back and how can they go back, how many they want to stay a little bit longer. We don't provide a shelter yet because again, having the shelters, it's a bit difficult for private sectors like mine because we cannot provide like the free shelter for them. So if the free shelter will be arranged, it's going to be a government to jump in and supporting financially. But what we can do is we try to keep them in the hotel they stay and make sure that they have a good stay until they go back.
Mhm. So that's mean that the situation that most of them are still in the hotel and most of the tourists are planning to go back within, let's say, a week or maybe stay back for another 2 weeks, right?
That quite depends on the flights available. Again, we don't know flights available for the time being. I personally contact local allies, asking them to consider to operating again, but it's not easy. It can be like we starting the car and it can drive, So it would take some time. And again, I've been contacting with the Russian consulate and Phuket office, asking for the government of Russians to step in and help if the citizen of Russia wants to go back to the country.
Yeah. Okay. ค่ะ So คุณฉัตรทันคะ what would be your advice to tourists in need of help, or what should they do, and who should they contact?
Yes, thank you, Kunina. There are multiple channels through which tourists, okay, for whatever reason, they can ask for assistance, they can ask for advice, okay. We can start with the tourist hotline, okay, run by TT 1672, okay. That's
1672.
1672. That's a 24-hour hotline, okay, for any kind of assistance, any kind of information. Okay, that's number one, right? Number two is that there's also the tourist police hotline, okay, for certain issues, okay, but they are also ready to assist 24 hours. That's 1155.
1155. Yes.
Yes. And then, of course, as Kun Phumkit already mentioned, there are the respective embassies and consulate generals, consulates in Phuket, in Bangkok. They can ask for assistance from those diplomatic missions. All right. And the persons closest to you will be the tourism industry, the Thai tourism industry people. Okay. Hotels, travel agents, even the people in Thailand. I mean, the people that the travelers know, okay, can always seek assistance from them. Okay, if you're staying in what is called a Char Plus hotel, okay, or Char Extra Plus hotel, every single hotel will have what is called a Char Plus manager. Okay, he or she can be the tourist's first point of contact as well.
Okay. What about tourists who cannot speak English or Thai? Do you have any translator or interpreter?
Yes, we do. We have compiled a list of Russian-speaking guides, okay, professional guides who are now ready to assist. Okay, the list has been handed over to our tourism industry colleagues in the main tourist destinations, including Phuket and Koh Samui.
For the hotline 1672, do you have this service available as well, or where should they press? Press 1, 2, 3. Do you know this?
Just dial 1672. Okay. I'm not sure about if the personnel at 1672 can speak Russian. Okay, perhaps not. Okay, but anyhow, you can always ask someone to help you. Maybe translate or so on. But the important thing to remember is that the 1672 and 1155 numbers are open 24 hours a day, and there are trained professionals ready to respond to inquiries.
As well as the tourists from both countries.
Of course, this situation of Russian and Ukrainian travelers being not able to return home for whatever reason is really an extraordinary circumstance. Okay, it doesn't happen often. Okay, but what I've been seeing is that the tourism industry as a whole, private sector, public sector, have really come together to extend assistance. Okay, we are ready to help everyone because they are all guests of the country. Okay, they chose Thailand as a holiday destination, so it is our duty, our responsibility to really take the best care of them, whether in good times or more challenging times, as best as we can. Okay, so we always want to be good hosts, whatever the circumstance.
Thank you very much. And คุณภูมิกิจคะ welcome back.
Sorry, I think the signals got lost somehow. Yep.
So my last question I would like to ask, for the tourists in Phuket, for the Russians and Ukrainian tourists in Phuket, if they need any help or assistance, where do they go? Who should they contact? Do you have any further details about this?
Yes, in fact, we have basically the call center set up at the TAT office in Phuket. I just want to check the numbers because they established a new numbers for this. Basically, again, you can contact the hotel you stay first. That's the priority. Anything that happening to yourself, you can contact the hotel. That's for sure. And secondly, if you can also contact the consular office in Phuket, which is located at Royal Phuket Marina. They have the full staff to accompany, assisting you. Okay, and you have a call centers. I don't have the numbers of call center right now with me. Can I send to you later, and you can just like put on in the program?
That's fine.
Yeah, that will be very better because I can't find. Sometimes when you need it, you don't find it. For some reason. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but we have call centers to assist you, and we have Russian speaking staff to just assist you in any way that we can. And again, there's 3 channels. You go to the hotel you stay, you go to consular office, or you call to the TAT office centers. Yeah.
Okay, that's in Phuket right now. And my
Yeah.
last question is, are there any information or messages you would like to share with the public, to the related organizations, and also to the tourists from both countries, Russian and Ukraine?
Well, basically, my personal thought, it would be better not having conflict at all. And if you have conflicts, if you can, peacefully solve the conflict together, that would be very beneficial, not only the 2 countries, but to the world. But once there is a conflict happening, and there is a person, tourist, who actually be our guest, as Deputy Governor mentions, staying with us during this, we would try the best to accompany them, to assist them, and make sure if they want to return home, they return home safely. We be a good host, and hopefully that Thai hostility, as we speak, that we have very good heart people. This is a way to show the good heart from Thailand to the needy person. Thank you.
Especially in Phuket as well, where a lot of Russian tourists.
Correct.
Probably the first destination for Russian tourists to go there, isn't it?
Correct.
And for today, thank you very much for joining our program, and I wish you to have a
Thank you.
good day. Okay, ค่ะ ขอบคุณมากค่ะ and that's it for Voice of the Nations. Stay tuned with us from Monday to Friday at 8 to 8:30 p.m. I am Nina Nirasha Malisak Lumi. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ